Hey guys, so all the races I had scheduled to run this last weekend got rained out, and I had some obligations on Saturday, so I couldn't go to any of the Saturday tracks, and I didn't have any content prepared. So what I decided to do is I went way back in the time machine and talked to my buddy Steven Ovens at Turn 5 Media, who's one of my sponsors. A few years back, I was in a pretty bad wreck, 2017, fractured a vertebrae, broke my back, I had missed about 6 months, I think, off, and he did an interview with me before the season started in 2018, kind of going over it and all that. So it's a way back, throwback, time machine, whatever you want to call it. Appreciate Steve Ovens giving me the permission to use it. Make sure to check him out on Facebook for all your social media management needs. He's Turn 5 Media. Make sure to tell him that Absolute Missile TV sent you. So without further ado, the crash and the comeback. Presented by Turn 5 Media from way back, beginning of the season, 2018. Hope you enjoy it.
Thank you for tuning in today. We're doing an interview here with Adam Del Grosso, who drives in the front-wheel drive division at the Woodhull Raceway, as well as in the four-cylinder division at the Outlaw Speedway. And we're going to talk to Adam today about 2017, how his season ended there in a crash that put him on the sidelines. And we're also going to talk about what he looks forward to this year. And Adam, we'll get right into it. Last year, 2017, had a couple of wrecks. Obviously, the second one, the worst of the two. Tell us a little bit about, walk us through that. Well, let's go with the first one. Let's start with the first crash. Walk us through your perspective of how that all went down.
The track was really rough the first half of last year just because of the new clay. And a lot of those races turned into races of just surviving. I think the race the week before I pulled off and I still finished 10th. I pulled off with like 7 or 8 laps to go and still finished 10th just because there were so many cars that were wrecked. And so near the end of this race, I had gotten up to 3rd place on a late restart, and I started running really, really high, right up on the edge because it was smoother up there. And I started getting these big runs down the straightaway. And, 2 or 3 to go, I was right on the leader's tail. And I thought the leaders were going to take care of themselves. They were both racing each other pretty hard, bouncing off the ground, running into each other. And, I thought maybe they would just kind of, fall by the wayside. I just sneak through. But came down to the last lap, and I got a big run down the backstretch. I cleared Nick Brown, and I decided to drive a little bit lower into the corner than I had been because I wanted to make sure that if it was a drag race, I had less distance to travel, so I wanted to be as close to the leader as possible. And it worked for 3/4 of the turn. Like, I drove through, I cleared him, and then all I saw was checkered flags waving in the air, and I think he hit a turtle or something, bounced up in front of me, and I went to hit the brake for a second, and then I realized, crap, it's the last lap. Now is not the time for brakes. I cut left and trying to win the race, and Nick Brown cut left trying to win the race, and we converged, and I ended up on my lid.
And then you have that wreck, and then just a few weeks later, you find yourself with a fast race car. Started 10th in your heat, won the heat by almost a straightaway, and then we get into the feature event, and you're coming up through the field on the very first lap like gangbusters, like typically happens at Outlaw, and you're following 2 cars into 3 and 4, and just kind of tell us, what happened from there.
I got a really good run down the backstretch. I passed quite a few cars, and then going into 3 and 4, I saw a black car. He started on the pole. Looked like he was going backwards as fast as I was going forwards, and Derek Purrier drove up next to him, and you can kind of tell with front wheel drive. The guy's tires went like this, and he just went like that, which pretty much means he just stood on the gas. So I saw the wreck happening, and I kind of planned for them to hit the wall, maybe bounce back just a little bit. You can hear me let off the gas and kind of move the car down. I moved down as far as I could. There was Desi Force and another car below me, and I was shocked when I hit when I felt the right, felt myself get turned, and was head on into the wall and along for the ride at that point.
Did it surprise you how far out that car bounced from the wall? I mean, you saw it coming, you were kind of set up for it, but did that kind of take you by surprise?
Yeah, I mean, when you're a racer, you kind of keep a memory bank of things that have happened before, and a couple years ago on one of the Bull Ring Challenge races at Woodhall, there's a bunch of Skyline cars there, and they kind of all piled into the turn 3 and 4 and ended up hitting the wall, and I would have missed them if they had just stopped once they hit the wall, but they almost got me because they bounced back. I'd never been that close to cars all piling in before, so I tried planning for that. Like I said, all right, well, I'm gonna need a couple feet or whatever, but that black car, when it, once I saw the video, it pancaked that wall, and it bounced a really long way sideways, hit the ground once. I don't think it ever started going forward again, and just sideways bounced sideways right into the side of my car, and then it was,
So you get up into the fence, you're at an angle, you get up in the air. What's odd about that wreck is you never actually went over. The car never turned over, just got a lot of air, and then when you hit the ground, all 4 tires hit at the same time. And, being in racing and seeing some of the injuries and accidents that have happened over the past couple of years, I know that as soon as you landed, you knew something was wrong.
Yeah, when I landed on all 4 tires at the same time. So my steering wheel snapped straight because I don't have power steering, so it just snapped straight. So I had the fun feeling of my thumb being ripped out of its home, and then I took a couple breaths and realized that something wasn't right there. I told the track workers, I said it's a compression fracture, just because I'd seen the kind of accidents, Formula One, IndyCar, Eric Almirola right before that, same kind of deal. When the suspension completely loads out, that force still has to go somewhere, and the only place for it to travel is up through the driver's body. So
now, something that you were wearing during that accident that I know, you've been real vocal and passionate about is the Next Gen, which you've got here with you today. Tell me a little bit about this Next Gen. I know that you had to have it serviced after your accident, and what they found.
So, anytime you're in a super, super hard accident, you're supposed to get your safety equipment recertified, your belts, things like that, because they're made out of webbing. Webbing stretches. It's supposed to stretch a little bit. If you watch any of the videos, what company was that video you shared with me?
So the videos that we've looked at online are actually videos that the company 802 Solutions, who make the crash pad, they've got a lot of great videos showing drivers with and without this kind of protective gear. So yeah,
the body, they design those belts so the body still travels. If you're in the belt as tight as you can get, you're still coming forward, 6 or 8 inches because it's webbing. So if you're in a real bad wreck, you gotta get it recertified. They found out that the webbing had been stretched on this just from my head coming forward, and also both of these metal clips.
And that's the part that clips into the helmet.
Yeah, both these metal clips that clip into my helmet were bent. So, I feel like that accident could have been significantly worse. Honestly, the part that hurt the least amount was the pounding the wall head-on part. But, looking back, I feel like if I'd had just a foam collar or something like that on, I feel like I would have damaged either my neck or my spine worse.
The other thing that I know that you're looking forward to for 2018 is you had a kind of an anonymous sponsor donate one of those 802 Solutions crash pads, and I know that you've done some research into how that technology works. How would something like that help in a crash like you went through?
So basically, like I said, when you get in a crash and your suspension gets fully compressed, if there's still additional force, that additional force has to travel somewhere. Those are laws of physics. I'm pretty sure it's physics. We'll go with physics. laws of physics.
Yeah, physics, gravity.
Yeah, gravity, the important stuff. So that force has to go somewhere, and it goes up to the body. So the 802 Solutions crash pad is basically a high-density foam insert. There's one that goes on your lumbar and one that goes under your butt. It fits into your seat. And what it's designed to do is just to absorb energy, that's going to be coming up and traveling, through the driver.
So, let's talk about 2018 now. Obviously, that crash ended your season last year. One other thing I will ask before we get to 2018 was you go through the process. You had to be cut out of the car. Had to be taken to a local trauma center by Air Medical. Through that whole process of being cut out of the car, being transported, going to a trauma center, talking with the doctors about when you could get back in the car, what's the one moment that sticks out to you the most about having gone through that whole experience?
Honestly, I'd have to say I don't think, I know a lot of people on Facebook. Obviously, most of them are through racing, and there literally wasn't a single person that I've even talked to in past. I mean, anybody that I know from a racetrack, any level. I mean, everybody. I had so many messages, so many text messages, people asking how I was doing. The first phone call I got was from Ted White, Saturday morning. And, he called me regularly to see how I was doing and try to get me out of my funk, get me to come up to the track and help out or do this or that. And, I'm just really fortunate to be part of, the racing family. And honestly, that's what I missed the most about being out was that, I didn't get to see everybody. And I'm real excited to get back to the track. Get back out there, see my friends, see my racing family that I haven't gotten to see since July.
Tell us about this car. You guys have put a brand new car together, obviously with a Todd Burgess cage, which you tested out twice last year. Just tell us about this build and how much you're looking forward to getting it out there on the track.
Todd says I'm his crash test dummy. He said I'm the best at testing his cages out. So we put the new cage in it. We had to make some changes the way because I got a full containment seat now. And since we can't really move the driver over center in these cars, they got to stay to the left. We had to move some things back and around so that the containment seat would fit in there. I had to add like an extension to the steering wheel and stuff just so I could reach everything. But we also found once we got the car apart, some of the issues that we were chasing last year, we found the root cause last year, but there was some additional damage that we weren't aware of till we got everything apart. So I'm really excited. I can't thank Cody Baker, enough. He's done a lot of work this year, every year, honestly. There's very few of my wins that haven't had Cody Baker involved in them. So, really excited to get back out there and go fast and turn left. So,
tell us a little bit about your family, and I know that you've got a young one who's getting ready to really experience and see what Daddy does on the weekends. Yeah,
I wouldn't, behind every racer there has to be a strong support system just because it's very time consuming, and without a family that understands your passion, it can, I would imagine. I've never had a family that doesn't understand, but I can imagine that it would be a lot worse. So my beautiful fiance Andrea, my kids Caleb, Kira, and Caleb. Caleb's going to be 18 months old here shortly, and he's been to Victory Lane one time when Andrea was pregnant. I don't know if that counts, but he points at the pictures of the race cars all the time. He says "Daddy" all the time. So I'm really hoping to get him into Victory Lane. I'd like all my kids to be able to, before I retire, I'd like all my kids to be able to experience what it's like to go to Victory Lane. So, and like I said, also gotta give a shout out, Cody Baker. I don't think there's very many plaques I have on my wall that Cody didn't have something to do with. So, really excited going into this year. He stepped his game up last year. Right about when my game was preparing to step up, I decided to take the Madonna exit in a helicopter. But
after everything that happened last year, the way your season ended in that crash, if you've got the opportunity to get back into Victory Lane, what is that first win after all this has happened? What is that going to mean?
I always joke with my brother that I kind of spoiled him the first couple years because we won a bunch. And, the race I won with the red car, that race was pretty cool just because my car was really slow and I just outsmarted everybody for 20 laps, and the win last year felt good because it was kind of our first win with building, because before we had the Birdswells helping us and that was kind of their deal. They were the experts on the Integras. So winning last year in a car that, that we picked out, that, me and Josiah and Cody built, that was kind of big. But, getting back to victory lane after everything that I've gone through in the last year, it's going to be so good, man. Like, I usually try to be a really good interview for you. I really do. I try to help the show. I don't know. You might have trouble getting me to focus for long enough to get some sound bites from me. You might not get me off the top of the car. Like, they might have to just haul me back sitting on the roof because I might not make it back.
I don't think the roof will hold both of us. So I'll have to wait till you get down on the ground. But this is Adam Del Grosso. I appreciate him joining us here, doing one of our off-season interviews. We're going to have a lot more of these coming up with drivers. We're going to go do a little shop tour and talk to some guys while they're getting ready for the season to start. But he'll be out at Woodhull Raceway, Outlaw Speedway, the beginning of the year. Even make some stops at Bradford, I'm sure. So be sure to watch out for him in the number 11 car. Check him out on his website, DelGrossoBrothersRacing.com, as well as all of his social accounts. And for more information on Woodhull Raceway, you can find us on our website, WoodhullRaceway.com.